Hi, everyone. Welcome for joining us. We're going to be starting in a few minutes. We're just waiting for one more minute to let more people to join us, and then we'll be starting soon. Okay, so welcome everyone. And again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. The title of our training today is Supporting Children's Growth and Development from Birth to 5 Years. My name is Raina Sajous, and my co-presenter is Natasha Elise. I work in the field of education for 25 years, and I work mostly as a director and manager of Delegate Head Start program in Chicago, Illinois. Currently, I'm a coach for directors and teachers at ELC Broward. I'm also class observer for infant, toddler, preschool, and pre-K, and also I'm a certified trainer for infant class. I'm also a coach from the University of Florida with the Lastinger program. And in my personal note, I love to read, cook something new every other time when I have time, and listen to music and dance. So I would like to let Natasha introduce herself. Welcome, Natasha.
Hi, Raina. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is, like Raina said before, my name is Natasha Elise. I work with her as colleague with the ELC of Broward as well as coach. I taught Head Start and VPK, and I've been in the field for the past 15 years of early childhood. I'm a class observer and certified trainer for both infant and toddler, but I'm an observer for all three ages. My favorite quote is, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." This is something Raina and I share, a quote that we both share and love. On my spare time to get my stress going, I like to sing. Welcome, and I'm happy to be with you guys this afternoon and doing this training.
Wonderful. Now, before we start, let's review our webinar housekeeping. You can click on the orange rectangle that has a white arrow pointing on the right. That is either on the left or right side of your panel. So you can expand those this panel, and you can see the question, the triangle that has the question. So if you want to ask a question or if you want to add any comments, you can click on that. And if you want to download our handout, you can also look for the tag that said handout and look for that triangle, and the PDF will pull up, and then you will see all the handout that we have for you. We have put 4 handouts. Please make sure that you download them before the end of the training today. Let's review also the attendance and credit before you get your certificate. All the ELC Broward training are for in-service hours only, and your certificate will be emailed to you within 24 hours after the training is over. And it will be sent in the email address that you registered. So in order for you to mark as attended, you must be logged on a computer, or you must download the GoToWebinar app on your phone. It is very important that you are logged on so we can see that you attended, because you would not be receiving a certificate if we cannot see your attendance. If you can see our screen, that means we cannot see you as an attendee, and you would not mark as attendee. So it's also very important to remember that starting July 1st, all the training will have a pre-test of 3 questions that you have to answer when you're registering. And upon completion of this training, there will be a post-test of 3 questions again, and also a training survey of 5 questions that will launch. Make sure you complete all of them in order to receive your certificate. It's very important. So let's review quickly the training objective for today. By the end of this training, participants will be able to define growth and development, identify stage of development from 0 to 5, learn the area of development and principle of growth, learn activities caregivers can implement to support healthy growth and development. Before we start, let's have a poll. So, true or false, children development happen evenly in all area, and environment does not affect the process. So think about that question, and you need to respond, is it true or false? Let me put it.
Okay, go ahead and launch your poll. Well,
They're still voting. I'm waiting for a minute. Okay, one more minute before I launch it. I'm going to close the poll in a minute. Okay. So here's the
Interesting.
result. 75% of you said it's false, and 26% of you said it's true. So we're gonna see that at the while we keep going. It's very important that we have that in mind. So give me a minute, let me close it so we keep going. Okay. So before we start, what is really important to understand is the difference between growth and development. Usually when we talk about children's development and child development, we tend to use growth and development, and sometimes we wonder, do they mean the same thing? And we're going to see that today, so we can use it in a better way. So growth refers to the body change, a specific body change, an increase in the child's size. Size is height, the weight, the head circumference, the body mass, and those size can be changed and they can easily be measured. Development typically refers to the increase in complexity, a change from the simple to the most complex, involved a progression along a continued path on which the child acquires more refined knowledge, behavior, and skills. And the sequence is basically all the same for children, but the rate can vary. And we're going to see this in more detail now. Let's look at the definition of growth. As I mentioned earlier, the growth is a specific body change and increase in the child's size. Growth process from the head downward and from the center of the body outward. And children differs in their growth. Some are taller, some are shorter, some are smaller, and other are larger. These differences are completely normal, and normal growth is supported by good nutrition, adequate sleep, and also regular exercise. And children do not grow at a perfectly steady rate throughout their childhood. They'll have a different way to grow. And some children can experience weeks and months of slightly and slower growth. And then it can be followed by growth spurts in a minute, in less than 2 months, they're double the height they're supposed to be. In the other side, in the other hand, development is a typical sequence of physical, language, thought, and emotional change that occurs in a child. So the child strongly, this development is strongly influenced by the genetic factor of the genes that are passed from parents, and event during prenatal life. It is also influenced by the environmental fact and the child's learning capacity. There are certain period of time when children are especially receptive to their surroundings and the interaction with people. These periods of time are tied to the brain development and readiness for learning. Both will directly affect the achievement of development milestone. And we're going to see this in more detail later on.
Now,
Now, I'm
thank
to
you, thank you,
Natasha.
Raina. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Raina, for providing us with all that good information in regards to making the difference between growth and development, and how our poll answered, which 74% correct, is that it's unevenly, and environment has a lot to do with it. We're going to take a minute to read this quote on that we found by Pam Schiller, which states that what you teach me, birth to 3, will be what matters most. What you teach me 3 to 5, what makes me grow and thrive. As educator and parents and guardian, it's take a minute to ponder on this thought about our impact in the lives of the young ones from the first from 0 to 5. As 3-year-old, we want to foster strong child that is able to know about themselves, that is able to acknowledge and affirm what they want, developing self-assurance, and having a sense of belonging, and having a skillful being a skillful communicator through that process. So as educator, this is what we do, and always think about the work that we are doing with children. So the stages of child development through the years, understanding the growth stages in infant and school age. As mentioned before, we want to be able to build children, foster children that have strong child knowledge about self, skillful communicator, being together, being able to work together, finding a voice for themselves, listening and responding to thoughts and information, making meaningful connection to what they are learning. And we want to foster a competent learner, being able to making connection, being able to imagine things and playing imaginatively, being creative, representing thoughts and feelings, understanding, identify with others by words, movement, dancing, and imagine play. So this is all the stage of development that we are going to be seeing. Now, to begin, we're going to watch a video that talks about the first 5 years. The first 5 years of life, how important that phase of life is for young children. And therefore, we ask that you take a minute, take notes to see what is it that you will find from that you are already implementing in your classroom, and what you would like to implement in regards to working with children. All righty. So the video really gave us more information in regards to the first 5 years, how important the first 5 years of life is for children. And it talked about how we are able to, children neurons are connecting about 700 per second. Um, so the importance of really fostering learning during that time is paramount. It also talk about the skills that we are looking for as adult, and an adult starts from the first 5 years, how to being able to work together, being able to communicate, understanding others, emotional, have the empathy, and all these things are skills, or skills that are taught or fostered during the first 5 years, and it continue on. And I like the fact that that's it also says when we do that, we have to do it in a fun way, learning, making it fun for children to really enjoy and learning and enjoy learning and playing together. Anything else you want to add?
No, definitely. You summarize it perfectly. And this is exactly what we are aiming throughout that day and training today, to really show the importance of those 5 years in the life of a child and how we can support that. And you describe it perfectly. And as we keep going.
Okay. So what is child development? Child development is a process every child goes through. This process involves learning and mastering skills like sitting, walking, talking, skipping, and tying shoes. Children learn these skills called developmental milestones during critical time period. For example, from 0 to 8 month old, the child development phase is like the child is a holds his heads up, and he's a looker, and he or she is able he's also communicating. This period of young baby reach to people and situation with their whole body, so they communicate with their whole body. So when you're looking at baby, they want to say something, but they're moving their body or cooing and making facial expression. They observe and responding to their immediate environment and communicating with those around them. That's how baby does the process of communicating. 8 to 18 month is considered as the sitter, and the sitter, spender, and explorer. The exploration continue. The baby's environment becomes more intentional, so they moving from one area to another because they want to go and achieve or look for this thing, or look for this ball, or look for this, grab this the side of the rail and moving, so they're becoming more mobile, and language enable them to find out and understand more about their world. So while they're doing that, the caregiver is communicating their action and so forth. Um, 18 to 24 months, they are like movers, shakers, and players. So young children begins to show increased independence and obvious pleasure in moving, communicating, and learning through play. So this is another phase of child development. The walkers at 24 to 36, and pretender. So children competency at moving has become better, and talking and pretending is more evident, and they show increased confidence in themselves and skills in making relationship. That's 24 to 36 months. So within 36 to, and that skill is continue to grow on as children move from the 4 and 5 years old. Next. Now it's time for another poll. This time we are asking which domain of development oversees the areas of growth. So we know we talk about the difference between growth and development. So we know that there's different domains. So which domain that oversees the areas of growth? Let's see. Is it A, social, emotional, and development, cognitive, language, growth, and fine motor development? The poll has been launched.
They're voting.
They are voting. Thank you for voting and taking part of this poll. What percentage are we at?
We're at 20, 30, 32.
Okay, so let's go, guys.
Keep going.
Keep going and voting.
We are at 50% now. We're waiting for a couple more to vote. Come on, guys, keep going. Okay, I'm gonna be closing in a few. They're still voting.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna close it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna share it. See, can you see?
Interesting.
Interesting, right?
Yes. So 29% voted A, B 9%, and C 7%, and D 56%. Thank you for participating in the voting, the poll. And yes, we just want to, because I know you guys know, you just wanted to get this. Yes, the areas the area that we talk about development growth is gross motor and fine motor skills. That's the area that we are refining when we're talking about growth. The other one has social, is emotional and cognitive and language. They all have to do with developmental phase, but gross motor is and fine motor is the answer. Thank you for taking part of this poll. I'm gonna hide it now, and then we're gonna
Yes,
continue.
I'm gonna stop it. Give me a second. And here we go.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the principles of child development. We know that developmental sequence is similar for all children. What does that mean? It is that it is the children develop is relatively the same ways. They can move forward, regress for a short time, and move forward again as children mature. Their bodily changes occur sequential, others, and give children new ability. From general to specific, so which is the next one, general proceed to general to specific in all areas of development. The general activities always precede the specific activity. So the general is like the ability to smell, sense, and so forth, but specific detail happen gradually after. Development is continuous. Yes, the process of growth development continues from connection till the individual reaches maturity. Development on both physical and mental traits continue gradually until these traits reach the maximum growth. It goes on continuously throughout life. Even after maturity has been attained, development, it does not end. That's not something that we reach and stop. It continues. It processes at different rates. It differs in growth and development from girls to boys. It differs. They are period of great intensity and equilibrium, and there are period of imbalances. Areas of development are unrelatable and highly related to development in other areas. For example, a child who has a good health can be active socially and intellectually. Now, the domain of growth and development is what we're going to talk about. We're going to see those four domains: cognitive, language, physical, and social emotional. Um, in some areas, you'll see social emotion, cognitive, physical being separated from gross motor and fine motor, which brings up the domain to higher number. But right now, we're just having four. Cognitive is the child's ability to learn and solve problems. For example, this includes a 2-month-old baby learning to explore the environment with hands and or eyes, or a 5-year-old learning how to do simple math problem. Before we begin with, we're going to watch a video by Piaget that will talk about the developmental, about cognitive development. Please take a minute to take notes, and then we'll discuss the video after. Alrighty, so we learned a lot about Jean Piaget finding. Talked about the sensory, the 4 stages of cognitive development, which is the sensory, the operational stage, concrete operational stage, and formal operational stage. One thing that came to mind within the sensory stage was, which is 0 to 2, where he talked clearly about the child begins to interact with the environment, so that the environment is also the child's teacher, with sensory experiences are important, where children are experiencing their environment, essential limit of perceiving the world, and purely sensory level, touching, putting in their mouth, and feeling and hearing and sounds, and dropping, and then see what happens, when to reflect to what happened when they drop something, and the sound and so forth. By the time the child reaches the pre-operational stage, which is ages 2 to 6, he or she is beginning to incorporate language into his or her own analysis of people and surrounding, making sense of things. However, in most cases, they're not yet ready to do logical functioning and reasoning. So a child may not have yet trouble in having problem putting things together. Um, and the concrete operational stage, which is 7 to 11, is where he or she can process event information to face value, but will still generally not being able to accommodate abstract and hypothetical situation. Now, Piaget also stated that sometimes we are look like the way we are pushing the process of cognitive development by a child that turns 12. That's when the formal operation stage happens, when they are able to perform intricate mental gymnastic and make human begins to be remarkable thinkers and abstract, thinking about abstract things, and a sense of envisioning hypothetical scenario, forming strategies, and passing through different viewpoint, becoming regular part of interfacing with one's reality. So to slow down the process, understanding what is age appropriate cognitive development for each child, each age group is very important um, in this training, in this part of the video.
Now, let's learn about the approach of learning. So that refers to the child's eagerness to learn and include their curiosity, their persistence, their creative about problem solving, and also the ability to create and complete long-term projects. And also the other part of cognitive development, the general knowledge, like that refers to the child's intellectual and mental ability that involve the exploration, discovery, concept and memory formation, problem solving, and creative expression. That include also knowledge of mathematics and scientific thinking, and awareness of social studies and art. So that will depend also of the environment that the child is exposed to in order to develop those skills. So let's see how we can support children based on their age to develop those skills of cognitive development. As Piaget just mentioned, we just saw in the video, Piaget mentioned that from birth to 2, children are using all their sense in order to learn. So it's very important to remember that they need to see what they're doing, and they need to hear it, they need to touch it, they need to taste it. So whatever activity you want to do with a baby, it's very important that they can use all their senses. You can sing along, you can make noise and identify the noise. If they hear any noise, you can help them identify what is going on. For example, if it's a truck, if it's an ambulance, you can make the difference so they can start making the difference of what they're hearing. If you want to practice the alphabet, I would say it's never too early to start counting or practice the alphabet and the shapes and the colors with a child, but it will have to be something visible, something that they can touch, and something that they can listen. It could be throughout the song or something that they can touch the letters, they can touch the shapes and everything. So you can offer different kind of games where they can use all those senses. And then also I encourage that for babies and 2 years old, that you visit places with them and you describe everything that is around so they can start relate to their world. Remember that it's very important because that's the moment where they can start making that difference and start sorting object, like if it's a flower, if it's an animal, and start make the differences about their sounds and different smell and everything. So it's important to encourage those kind of activity with the little ones. And then let's see the activities that you can do to support cognitive development with the children who are 3 to 5 years old. At that moment, that's when they're ready. Remember, Piaget said this is the period where they're asking a lot of questions, they're curious. So that's the moment where you can introduce some mathematical thinking, scientific thinking, social connection, creative expression, and also technology. Lately, technology is part of teaching children different skills. So we can also use technology as a cognitive tool in order to promote cognitive development. Let me give you an example of verbal game. Verbal game can be something that you just say like, guess what has 4 feet and a long hairy nose? And then they have to think and then give you an answer. It could be also, yesterday, what did you have for breakfast? At that moment, they have to think about what they had and start sorting it and remember to tell you what it is. So those are the verbal games that you can do with them. And also board games are something simple like the memory game, the Connect Four. It could be the tic-tac-toes. It could be the Candyland game. Things that they can have interaction and start talking. The sensory motor game could be something like putting some silverware aside. It could be like matching socks, matching toys together, start putting them in different size. It could be asking them how do they feel when they're touching a cotton? How does it feel when they're touching the sand? How does it feel when they're touching the rock? Or those kind of games that can support their interaction and they can also try to describe what they're feeling are very important. For activities and games that you can do, it could be hide and seek. It could be counting, supporting them to count by 2 or counting by 5. It could be telling them that you spy a color or a shape and then they can guess where it is, what it is. You can say that you smell something and then they have to guess. It could be a Simon Say games or any Pictionary. You can prepare the game ahead of time and do it in your classroom. Obviously, we know that on the computer we have a lot of those games that you can encourage a child to play with and that are like also supporting those skills. Now let's see what language development is about. Natasha?
Language development. Language and communication refers to a child's ability to communicate with others. It involves a child's ability to see, hear, speak, and write and constructive and understanding of things around them. For example, this includes a 12-month-old baby saying his first word, a 2-year-old naming parts of his or her body, or a 5-year-old learning to say feet instead of foot. Language skills are one component of cognitive development. Reading activities are crucial for helping children develop those skills. Reading helps build vocabulary and increases verbal ability. Interacting through books can promote verbal skills as well as visual development. Now we're going to see the 4 aspects of language development. Phonological development is the 4 aspect is the ability to comprehend, utilize, and manipulate language. It may be the single most powerful skills a person can develop. And the 4 aspects of language development are phonological development. That is has to do with the learning of speech sounds, which includes vowel and consonant. Toddlers should have acquired vowel sounds at this point, but it's not allowed. It's not all consonant that are developed. And normal for toddlers to have not developed speech sounds such as R, sh, the, or J. However, by 36 months, children should have mastered the consonant like t, d, f, k, n, w. Those are the sound. Syntax. Syntax is the fitting those words together into sentences according to the language rules and conversation.
Okay.
This arrangement of words. This arrangement of words and phrases to create well-formed sentences and language. Syntax organize rules regarding words and then sentences organization. Toddler moves quickly from producing 2 words utterance to 3 to 4 or 5 combination words. Between 24 to 36 months old, they transition from simple to complex sentences. Toddlers are beginning to develop simple noun and verb phrases, like a big dog. That's semantics. Semantics has to do with toddler developing in toddler, where they have to do with developing the word knowledge, words meaning, and vocabulary worth. Now, for children, semantic vocabulary growth can be attributed to cognitive growth and increased motor control of their speech articulation. It's pretty much having to do with meanings. And how children develop pragmatic is how language is applied in a practical and interpersonal communication. And to do that, it's through having games, fun activities where they're going to learn about rules of the games and take turns and help children to understand that skills. When they play dress up, allows them to imagine, play, and symbolically to take turns in different roles. And then this gradually moves to the maturation of verbal communication skills that can vary markedly between individuals, but by 2 years of age, many toddlers are capable of at least telegraphic speech, simple sentence communicating, and essence of wants and needs. Looking at this picture, we notice that the different activities, the different that can amount to building language skill. Language skills are a component of cognitive development. Reading activities are crucial for helping children develop these skills. Reading helps build vocabulary and increase verbal ability. Interacting through books can promote verbal skills and well visual development. So as we read books to children, we are providing them with words, vocabulary, and building on their vocabulary skills. And we ask them that when you are reading book, it's okay to read a book over and over again if a child is requiring to read the book, because it is when we do that, every time we read a book, repetition is important in building that. Every time we read a book, children are getting new words and they are getting accustomed to new understanding. So repetition is important. Also, it's not really you don't have to read every word of the book, just to make sure to emphasize that you build on the interest. So a day you may skip words in order to really get the child or children to really get interested in reading the story. So it's not necessary that you have to read every word on the pages of the book. Activities that support language development from birth to two. We describe her feelings and experience, support exploration. Copy your baby's sounds and encourage him or her to imitate you. Put words to her sounds, extend and expand communication. Self-talk is a very useful tool, as well as when you are talking about what is it that you are doing, and then every action you are doing, you are expressing it and labeling your action. So that's what self-talk. And parallel talk is when you are talking about what's going on in the classroom or what other children are doing. So you play peekaboo, you read lots of books, sing songs, name things, label objects, speak and complete sentences, which is very important. Not the baby talk, but we speak as an adult, like complete sentences. Give him or her toy puppet, match the alphabet, point to objects and pictures, and recognize name and familiar people and body parts. So as you are on the changing table, or as you are taking care of anything, you're talking about the body parts, you're talking about everything that you are doing and labeling them and giving them that vocabulary. Simple phrases, use 2 to 4 sentences, follow simple instructions, and you repeat the words that they say when they say it, in order to say it right, properly. Activities to support language development for children 3 to 5 is to talk often to children using rich vocabulary. Use appropriate vocabulary, encourage, expands, and elaborate and extend. What does that mean? You provide vocabulary, but if it's a new vocabulary, you providing them what it means, and then you encourage them to use it, or you providing with examples, and then if they don't know, and you elaborate to let them know what you mean by that. Be empathic. Language partner, building relationship by being present when you are talking to children. You make sure you are present, you are at their age, talking to them at their level, in order for them to know that you are present. Be interactive language partner, respond and expand. Again, self and parallel talk is very important at that age, because you are building vocabulary and providing them with knowledge of words and labeling object. Tell stories, provide games, and promote oral language. Now we're going to watch a video talking about typical speech and language development. This video talk about the different level of speech and language development. Please take note, and we'll talk about it.
Okay, as we noticed, this is a great summary of the language development, and it really gives us all the steps that the children are going from birth to 5 years old, and how important language is for children since birth, and how we can motivate those skills as we continue to talk to children and the progress that they're making. Natasha?
Yes, I agree. This video provides us with a lot of step and information how children language develop throughout from 0 to 5.
Wonderful. Let's keep going. Now let's talk about physical development. Physical development includes the mastering of movement and balance and the development of both gross and fine motor skills. Remember in one of the poll we asked that question. Actually, physical development is the only um, part that talked about growth. And gross motor skills involve the use of the body, big muscle, and the fine motor skills involve the use of small muscles. Physical development refers to the growth pattern, change in weight, in height, in general health and safety, and the visual perception, hearing, and understanding. And then the motor development is going to be referring to the ability to move and to control various parts of their body. And also it's include how they're using different skills like grasping, rolling over, sitting up, jumping in one foot, and writing their names later on, and also use tool for tasks. Before we continue to talk about how we can support physical development, I would like to share a video and to see the importance of physical activity for children. Okay, so as the video mentioned, we need to be physically fit to be able to learn in school, to have a very great social interaction. So that also show us how it's important to make sure that all those components are aligned, because a one are interacted with the other one. So let's see how we can support those things. So we're going to talk first about the gross motor skills. That is the ability that the child has to use the big muscle in your body. So it's like crawling, walking, running, skipping, jumping. Oh, those are example of gross motor skills. And also we know that in the average, by the time a child is 4 years old, they will double the length in height, and also they'll be able to do different things and with their body. By the time they're 4 years old, they'll be able to run, hop, skip, jump, go up and down on the stairs with no problem. And also that's the time where also they have a better coordination, eyes and hands coordination, so they can catch a ball and they can run and play soccer if they want. So also a child that is 4 years old can start standing or hopping on one foot if they want to. So let's talk about the fine motor skills that involve using the small muscle, which are the fingers, toes, wrists, and to do certain activities like writing, coloring, cutting with a scissors, and also tearing papers. By the time that they are 4 or 5 years old, they'll be able to hold a pencil. They'll be able to button their clothes. They'll be able also to pull some liquids to a glass. Use their fingers to match, for example, using Play-Doh, or whenever they are playing on sand. It could be also to cut with the scissors with the supervision of an adult. And it could be that's when also they're starting to trace letters, and they can represent. Remember, also 4 years old are starting to use symbolic play and symbolic drawing. That's when they can start represent some a symbolic drawing, like it could be like they're drawing the sun, they're drawing the house, themselves, and those kind of things. So that's when it starts. Let's see the activities that you can do with children from birth to 2. The first thing to start is with the tummy time, which will strengthen the muscle of their torso when they can start having that strength in order to start sitting. And then later on, you can also, as soon as they can sit, you can start having a ball, and you can roll the ball to them so they can roll it back to you, so they can start using their muscle of their arm and pushing and receiving. You can also put a rattle on their hands, and you can hold so they can grip that rattle. And by the time, and you can also show them how to shake it, so that will motivate using the whisk, which will be skills that they're going to need in order to start writing later on. You can bring out the blocks so they can start stacking the blocks. And by the time they're 4 or 7 months, you can also support a child from their torso, and then you can help them stand. In the standing position, they will start strengthening the legs muscle, so they can start feeling secure to start pulling up. When also the child start crawling, you can put some obstacle like some pillows and boxes on the carpet, so that can force them to move around and then move their body, and that will show them direction and show them how they can start moving their body around. Also, something that we do without noticing, it's putting finger food in front of them so that that can help them use their fingers in order to start using the small muscles, and also passing a cookie from one hand to another. For the 3 to 5 years old, that's when there definitely needs to be outside. That doesn't mean the little one cannot be outside, but the older ones need to definitely be outside and start jumping, running, hopping, riding a bike, walking, having all kind of games that encourage that throwing and catching. They need to be able to start using their small and big muscle when they are outside, and you want to encourage all that. And I'm also a big fan of writing and drawing outside. Um, Outdoor activities should also include art and drawing. In order to conclude that part, I would say play is the highest expression of human development in childhood, and for its alone is the free expression of what is in a child's soul. That's from Frederick Froebel, which is another philosopher of child development. Let's go over social emotional development. Now, I'm passing it to Natasha so she can describe, talk to us about it quickly.
Thank you. Thank you, Raina. Social emotional development is the broad area of focuses on how children feel about themselves and their relationship with others. It refers to children, individuals' behavior and responses to play and work activities, attachment to parents and caregivers, relationship with siblings and friends, and pro-social behaviors and personality. This is the child's ability to interact with others, including helping themselves and self-control. Now, let's go over this quote that says, to truly thrive, we must learn to exist peacefully within ourselves and coexist with others. Again, we're thinking about as educator or as professional, this is what we want to see in adult. However, the process starts with early childhood. By 6 months of age, a baby should be able to is reacting to facial expression and reciprocating. That's meaning if you're happy, the baby showing a happy face, the baby will be happy, and sad the same. By year 1, clear preference in terms of likeness and dislike should begin to surface, as well as recognition of familiar versus unfamiliar. That's when you want to start seeing children are able to freely go to their favorite or to their people that they are familiar with, and then not refrain from going to anybody who's they're not familiar with. By 2 years of age, a child should be engaged in parallel play with his or her peers. Each child may be involved in a separate activity, however, they are playing next to one another, but are interested in each other's activities and comfortable in each other's company. By 3 years of age, they already have the awareness of self. They should have begun to form and the ability to express feelings. You're my friend, we can play together. We're my friend, we're not sharing that. We're not sharing this toy. By year 4, the child should be able to cooperate with others, abide by simple rules, and manage emotions without tantrum and aggression. Now, how do we support social emotional development for children 0 to 2? It's really to encourage children to try new things, support exploration, give the child opportunity to play with other children their age, adjust experience to support involvement, show your feelings and acknowledge their feelings as well. establish daily routine. The child will feel confident and secure when you have a routine in place. Acknowledge the child's feelings, respond to their emotion as needed. If a child is crying, understand responding to their emotions. So in regards to 3 to 5 years old, playing solitaire games, character games, parallel play, associated play with peers, cooperatively play in a team play, imaginative play, social play, constructive play, stimulating play using blocks, um, shapes, puzzles, sand, cipher, cups, spoons, water play, follow a recipe, playing with Play-Doh, creating Play-Doh, building together, playing dress up, and using costume, or even playing and creating an invitation to a party. All these are events or activities that can be done to promote social emotional development.
So, obviously, when we're starting to talk about social emotional, we also know this is the age where they're starting to make friendship. And our role as caregivers are to support that moment by giving them suggestions on how to organize their play, um, them toys to share and materials to share, show them the reciprocity by taking turns. Um, so to know when is it good to help others, how to be affectionate, how to give compliments, and also to understand when it's time to give an apology, to begin to emphasize, empathize with other peers. Um, so it's very important, and that's one of the things that the children need to learn early. And our role as caregiver is to help them in that process. Let's see a quick video that talked about emotional, because usually teachers tend to focus on how to use to work on behaviors. And this video is a great example of different strategies that teachers can use for a to support that. Okay, so quickly, this summarized a little bit what we wanted to talk about social emotional. We know that we need to support social emotional in the life of children. Um, but it's also giving them strategies on how to use that in order to be successful later on. So let's see way that we can support children. So it is very important our interaction that we have with children. And remember that they have an effect in the children's development and learning. And it is important to be aware of what the child is learning while they're in your care. Environmental influence such as nutrition, exercise level, daily routine, and physical activities learning also the relationship that they have with adult and other children are also important for the growth and development of children. As caregivers, we need to know also how we can implement those strategies, what other strategies we can use to support healthy growth and development. And one of the things that we use in class, which is a tool that we use to assess the teacher's interaction with children, we know that if the teacher has a warm environment, when we walk in the classroom, we can see that the teacher and the children are enjoying a warm environment, that they're supportive of the relationship with one another, and that they share a positive verbal and physical communication, that also the teachers and the children are consistently demonstrate respect for one another, that the teachers supporting the children, they're aware of what the children's needs are and their ability. And then also that the teachers are seeking to help the children address their problem and their conflict. That the children also feel comfortable to come to the teacher and ask questions or respond to the teachers. It's very also important to see that the teacher is consistent and providing support for autonomy and leadership, and also to see how many opportunities that the children have to talk and to express themselves, and that the children are free to move in the classroom. Those are skills that and strategies that teachers can use, but this is what also we are looking to see what is the level of interaction between the teachers and the children. So quickly, what we can do to support children with special needs. If it's that is physically challenged, you need to ensure that the puzzles, if, for example, if they're just using puzzle, the puzzle has knobs and the toys are accessible to them. If the child is socially challenged, to ensure that the activity is equitable, and often to review the rules that were established. That is the child is shy or emotionally challenged, that the child works in pair or in a small group. If it's a child that is gifted, to provide enrichment activities that build to different kind of subject and all the puzzle that they're doing. So it's very important to remember that when you are doing a lesson plan, to have some extra activities for the children that are gifted, that might need more challenges. And also, if the child is mentally challenged, combine the pieces to reduce the number of puzzle, or you can modify the rules of the game so they can participate freely. So let's see the importance of following a daily routine quickly before we finish.
It is very important to keep a daily routine. When we do that, we help children to know what is expected. Establishing learning routine helps children enjoy their experiences with learning. It also provides children with a sense of security when they know what is expected and what is happening next. Routine helps set time to eat and nap and exercise. We know that sometimes we can be out of our routine, but it's important to let them know when there's something that changes and the routine out of respect and for them to really understand to calm their nerves. The next slide, it says, as educators, think about everything we do as teachers must ensure that the child's inherent desires to learn is kept alive, by Robert John Meehan. This is what we are fostering: desire to learn and creating lifelong learners. We know we are over time, we apologize, but this is the resource list that we have used to create this webinar for you. Go ahead and you can take a picture of it so you can access them and then go ahead and do your own research at a later time. And we thank you. If you have any question, we ask that you email us. You will have our email address. You can take a picture of our email contact information slide. So you can email us due to time. You can email us any questions you have. Again, the webinar housekeeping, we know that the certificate will be emailed to you at the end of this training. We ask that you will be receiving an email from the email that you have registered from, and that will give you post-test as well as a survey. We ask that you please complete that for us, and also you still have time to download the handouts we have on the webinar for you. So go ahead and download them for later use, save them on your computer, and open them as you like.
Okay. Here's our email. For myself, it's rsajous, SAJOUS, and at elcbroward.org. And for Natasha is Nerise, HERISSE, at elcbroward.org. And also we have included the email of our manager, Amy Hamwi, and also Tiffany Bernard. And we also have our ELC email address. If you have any question about the training or any information, additional information that you need, please email us at elcbtraining@elcbroward.org. So I would say thank you again for joining us, and sorry for passing us a little bit from the time, but I will stay on for another minute in case you still need to download the handouts that we have for you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And again, we apologize for the lateness, and see you next time.